Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me for our live tarot session today on September 7th, 2009. Or, well, 2009. Oh my God. 2024. Oh my God. You can tell I'm tired today. How are you guys all doing? It's great to see you. Let's give a shout out to the chat. Good to see you, Gandhi. Great to see you, Geronimo. Good to see you, Isaac. Much love, Nikosmas. Great to see you, Kit Kat. Hi, Christy. Much love, D Love. Good to see you, David. Great to see you, Leslie. Amazing to see you, Holler Haint. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, good to see you, Johnny Harmonic. Yes, hail the muse indeed. All right. So let's start off by talking about our astrology. So our moon has moved into Scorpio. We're fully into that Scorpio energy, that harsh energy of change and transformation, right? Scorpio in the moon is this energy of movement. It's this energy of change. It's an energy of reflection, of being critical, and of holding yourself to it. It's kind of like a more intense version of Virgo, right? If Virgo up and left. When I think of the Scorpio energy in this time, it's really about having that ability to make the changes necessary, right? To do what is necessary to move forward in life. So take this opportunity to really connect to your inner self and to feel, right? And Scorpio moon will let you know if something is off, right? Or if something is good and is pulling you, right? And if you are being pulled, you got to leap. And if something is holding you back, you got to cut it out, right? And Scorpio energy will give you the power to do so. And combined with Virgo, we're in such a hyper analytical, powerful moment, right? The sun in Virgo is that beautiful energy of being that analytical thought, that one who can do the organization and do what is necessary to prepare for the coming winter, right? To do what is necessary to build into the future. Virgo is that deep, organizational, powerful energy. Remember, in the mythology, she's the one who through her own power ascends the stars. She perfects herself. Combine that with Scorpio, you can change, and you can change everything. And you can be clear and reasoned about it. It's a beautiful moment if you choose to seize it. And let's also talk a bit about the title today, Shine Your Lantern and Find the Self. When I was thinking on this energy, I was really where it came from. I've been doing all this research into Artemis and into Hecate. I'm doing a show on Sunday on Artemis, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And there's this epithet that kept coming up of not the torchbearer, but the one who holds the lantern, or give me the lantern, creator of the lantern, shining of the lantern. And it really made me think of the Hermit card, right? And where do we shine that light, and what are we looking to explore? I immediately thought of Eleusis and what is written on the walls of Eleusis when you would enter, which is know the self, know thyself, was what was written, right? So it's this shining of that moonlight into the self, to know what is truly you, to know where that essence is, right? In Scorpio, you can be critical, you can see things truly, right? Go to the depths and ask yourself, what do you have control over, if anything? What are you aware of, right? It's an interesting exercise, and it will really put you into the body. And it brings profound awareness and transformation. I also wanted to read to you a poem, only kind of tangentially connected, but the muse has sent it to me this morning, and it's beautiful, and I really wanted to share. It's by Bliss Carmen. It's called September Woodlands. This is not sadness in the wood. The yellow bird flits, joying through the solitude, but by no thought stirred save of his little duskier mate, and romping's jolly. If there's a dryad in the wood, she is not sad, too wise the spirits are to brood, divinely glad. They dream with countenance sedate, not melancholy, right? This embracing of the moment and this ability to exist in joy, right? To just know that you are that awareness and to just be in that awareness, that perceiver, and to enjoy and embrace the experience, not with melancholy, but with that dreamlike imagination and with that countenance of sedation. Beautiful. All right. Let us now turn to our Ganapati Ganesha oracle. Ganapati Ganesha is that divine child, the Lord of beginnings, guardian of the thresholds, and Lord and master of the spirits, the Ganas. Ganapati, guide our hand, send us a message, and ensure that our words get sent to those who need to hear them. Oh, wow. I have a message shooting out, and the message is enlightenment. Enlightenment. Shining that light internally, lighting the torch of wisdom, embracing the fire of Prometheus, engaging with creation so that you can know, expanding that perspective through awareness, right? To become enlightened, you have to do that hard work of meditation and self-knowledge. You have to take the time to reflect and to be aware, to recognize that awareness is to embrace it. And that is what it means to be enlightened. To recognize that the self is nothing more than perceiver. Beautiful. Well, let's continue. We're now going to jump to our sortes. For those of you unaware, the sortes is a form of bibliomancy, that is, divination through literature. And it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we ask the divine spirits, the goddesses of inspiration, the muses, to inspire us, to guide our hand and to send us messages through the text. And we read them, and through our intuition and our reason, gain the message. So today we are going to start with the Psychic Bible of Genesis Peorage in the Temple of Psychic Youth. So muses, guide my hand. What is the inspiring message from the Temple of Psychic Youth? All right. This act of intervention requires energy, blood sacrifice, vampirism, or simple appropriation, a dead cow, or a stalled engine. This act of intervention requires energy, blood sacrifice, vampirism, or simple appropriation, a dead cow, or a stalled engine. To intervene in the universe and to assert one's will requires an expelling of energy, right? To engage in that kind of magic, it requires a sacrifice of life, of consumption, right? Wine and blood and sex and death. Wildness on display. Let's continue. Excuse me. Excuse me. My apologies. All right. Let's now go to Dr. Faustus by Marlowe. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Marlowe? Inspire us this evening. Then, Dr. Faustus, mark what I shall say. As I was sometimes solitary set within my closet, sundry thoughts arose about the honor of mine ancestors, how they had won by prowess such exploits, got such riches, subdued so many kingdoms, as that do succeed, or they that shall hereafter possess our throne, shall, I fear me, never attain to that degree of high renown and great authority. Amongst which kings is Alexander the Great, chief spectacle of the world's preeminence, the bright shining of whose glorious acts lightens the world with his reflecting beams. As when I hear but motion made of him, it grieves my soul I never saw the man. If therefore thou by cunning of thine art can raise this man from hollow vaults below, where lies entombed by this famous conqueror, and bring him with his beauteous paramour, both in their right shapes, gestures, and attire, they us to wear during their time of life, thou shalt both satisfy my just desire and give me cause to praise thee whilst I live. Interesting. Recognizing the greatness of our past and doing the necromantic magical rites in order to reflect and to speak, to gain the knowledge of the great ones that came before us. That's one of the powers that Luciferian energy offers, right? It's interesting. And it's interesting that he goes into the closet to reflect on the self, and he's confronted with the tale of his ancestors, right? And he recognizes that he is here because of their greatness. He recognizes that his privilege and power is the result of another, which is interesting. And this is true of many of us. And all of us, to a certain extent, if you go back far enough, there's always a greater ancestor, right? Interesting. Let's continue. All right. We're going to go to Watch Fiends and Rack Screams by Antonin Artaud. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Antonin Artaud? Inspire us this evening. The world, it is water, air, earth, fire, aether, but it is also the arch ponderable of all that has always been hidden, and which is this sea of miasma, Jah, of obscene corporeal suppurations which paralyze all will. It is both the prison and the escape, right? The world, it is water, air, earth, fire, and aether, but it is also the arch ponderable of all that has always been hidden, and which is the seat of miasma Jah, of obscene corporal suppurations which paralyze all will. Wow. The arch ponderable of all, right? The ability to experience everything and to see the hidden. But it is also that miasma, that obscene corporal separation, that paralysis of will. Beautiful. Yin and yang indeed. All right. Let us now go to Hermann Hesse, Narcissus and Goldman. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Hermann Hesse? Inspire us. Relieved, Goldman stood up, prayed in front of the altar as the Father had ordered, and was about to leave the church when a ray of sunshine fell through one of the windows. His eyes followed it. In a side chapel, he saw a statue that spoke to him so strongly and attracted him so much that he turned toward it with loving eyes and looked at with deep reverence and emotion. It was a wooden Madonna. Oh my God. Okay, this blew my mind. I should say goddess. Full-on goddess. Wow. Oh, okay. I've been studying a ton of Artemis, okay? And I just finished reading Euripides' Iphigenia in Taurus. And the central plot of the story is that Orestes, the brother of Iphigenia, goes to Taurus, where the Amazons are, to steal the Eidolon, the idol of Artemis, which is a wooden statue, a wooden maiden, a wooden Madonna. Let me read this back. Relieved, Goldman stood up, prayed in front of the altar as the Father had ordered, and was about to leave the church when a ray of sunshine fell through one of the windows. His eyes followed it. In a side chapel, he saw a statue that spoke to him so strongly and attracted him so much that he turned toward it with loving eyes and looked at it with reverence and deep emotion. It was a wooden Madonna. Wow. Wild. Hail Artemis of the woods, that amazing archer, the huntress. Beautiful. The virgin, the maiden, right? Let's continue. My neighbor wants to kill me. By my dear friend Graham. Muses, what is the message? Inspire us this evening. I can't avoid him forever. I can't avoid him forever. Oof. That is an intense statement and a true one. And this is such Artemis energy. I can't avoid him forever. Who is Artemis? She who stands alone, right? Lucina, the moon, who shines in the dark by her own light, to her own self is true, right? Who is conquered and dominated by no one, especially no flippin' man, right? But you can't deny him, can you? This is that paradox with that erotic energy. You know, it's really interesting, and it makes me think of an amazing text called, Aradia, Gospel of Witches by Charles Leland. And this is a very controversial text. It's one that modern anthropologists and scholars of religion contend with, do not believe to be an authentic tradition text. But it is one that is also very popular within the witchcraft movement, and one that Ammon looks at the etymology of the names like Aradia and sees deep connection there. And this is a book that I've had deep connection with, so take from it as you will. But what's beautiful about it and the connection here is in the main story, they talk about the goddess Diana. And the goddess Diana is the twin of Lucifer, Apollo, right? And in the story, she is drugged by Apollo, and incest begins creation. That rape begins creation. The ultimate breaking of taboo. Wildness, you know, there is this pull and between these two energies, Apollo and Diana, right? The twins and the unfolding of creation. And there's a lot of wildness in these stories. You'll see this same kind of taboo and this parallel reflected, right? This Dianic solitariness. Where else do we see this story but Salome, Oscar Wilde, right? Who is Joachim? Joachim is the moon. He is called so by Salome herself. And as the moon, he stands alone and refuses her love. And what does that goddess, that Eros, demand? The head of Joachim. And she kisses it, and that violence happens, right? This is what that churning is about, that comes together in love or violence, these pulls. The male and the female, intense, or intense, intense, intense. Let's continue. All right. We're now going to go to my dear friend Craig Williams, Entering the Desert. Craig Williams is an Ayurvedic doctor and a pursuer of the mysteries, and initiated into various Hindu traditions. Really interesting character. I highly recommend his book. This one's great, Entering the Desert. I also have his Cult of Golgotha, but it's a little more out there. Let's just say. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Williams? Inspire us. Careful attention must be paid to how much time is spent in social environments that are not conducive to the overall spiritual devotee goals of the devotee. Careful attention must be paid to how much time is spent in social environments that are not conducive to the overall spiritual goals of the devotee. This is really reflective on the energy of today's reading, right? Shining that lantern and finding the self requires taking that time out of the social situation, right? Knowing when to enter into that hermit mode. And also, this is about the balance, right? That Dianic energy is not wrong to want to be independent, but it is that extreme. It is when it is pushed to that singularity of the pole that it becomes a problem. When she stands and refuses all love for all eternity, you know. This is when things get violent and it causes a reaction from that erotic other, which is another pole you don't want to go to the extreme of, right? It's always about this balance between these forces, right? And just as Apollo and Diana are poles, we also see Dionysus and Apollo as poles, right? That chthonic versus the Olympian. And it is very similar, right? The Olympian strives for that arity, that excellence, that order, that uniformity, right? It strives to embody that Zeus, that authority, right? This is not necessarily bad energy. It can be very beautiful. It leads to incredible art and growth and transformation and the coming together, right? But it can also lead to tyranny and singularity and stagnation, right? And violence and persecution of the other that doesn't fit that hierarchy. What is the opposite is the Dionysian, right? Which pursues that equality and that freedom and that expansive energy of diversity, right? But as it is ever expanding in diversity, as it ever is always seeking equality, it doesn't build upon itself, right? It stays in a sort of idyllic state and again falls prey to the forces of nature. Another issue, right? We have to be able to move between the poles to know when to build and when to expand, right? Being able to flow. We do not want a singularity and we do not want nothing but multiplicity. We want to exist in harmony, right? Beautiful. Let's continue. Dante, the Divine Comedy. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Dante? Inspire us this evening. Now, since the air revolves with the primal revolution, if its circling is not broken anywhere on this highest summit, which projects in the air, such movement strikes and makes the dense wood give forth a sound. Wow, this is incredible for a couple reasons. We are on line 108. 108 reduces to 9. That is the number of Hecate. Okay, we are talking now. And Medea, that 9, that fiery 9. And we are talking now about that spiral, that air, which revolves in primal revolution, that circles and is unbroken, and that emits forth a roaring sound when it hits the density of the wood. Who is the wood? Artemis. Artemis, right? These two virgins are always in conjunction, Artemis and Hecate, two faces, right, of that primal goddess. Wow, that's beautiful. Let's continue. All right. Goethe, Faust. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Faust? Inspire us this evening. Entering with a lamp. How close it is, so sultry here. She throws open the window, yet out of doors 'tis not so warm. Wow. First off, entering with the lantern into the darkened room. And when you're in that darkened chamber, you know how closed, right? It's so dark. I throw open the windows to let the light in and to let in some of the air. And what do we get? But it's not so warm outside, it's cold. Again, we're confronted with that balance, right? The balance. Learning to find that middle play, the middle way between that interior cave of the womb, that chthonic darkness, and that shining light of the Apollonian air, right? Beautiful, 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 beautiful. We want to let the light in, but we also don't want to be out in the cold. Let us continue. Byron. All right. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Lord Byron? Inspire us this evening. An honest gentleman at his return may not have the good fortune of Ulysses. Not all lone matrons for their husbands mourn or show the same dislike to suitors' kisses. The odds are that he finds a handsome urn to his memory, and 2 or 3 young misses born to some friend who holds his wife in riches, and that his Argus bites him by the breeches. Right? This is retelling the story of Odysseus or Ulysses, you know? And a normal hero, a normal person who was away from home for decades would find that their wife probably did move on, right? Would probably find that their dog would not wait for them and still remember and love them. Interesting. It's that satire, flipping of the pole magic, turning the story on its head, making us see the idea from another perspective and expanding our view, right? What's going on here? In what world does a wife pine for freaking 20 years for their husband and deny all suitors, right? And who would expect that? Who would expect that? This is the beauty of this kind of magic, flipping something on its pole, trying to perceive the other side, expanding your perspective through that cursive analysis, through spinning, and through examination. And this is also the power of the mythology. Mythology exists in conversation, right? The more you engage with the mythological tradition, you will discover incessant contradiction, because everyone is trying to engage with each other and transform the story, offer new perspectives, and therefore expand the image. And that's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And Byron is operating in this tradition. He is engaging that power of the muse to flip the poles and to give us a new perspective on the story of Ulysses, of Odysseus, right? Beautiful. And in this version, Argus bites his ass. Wow. All right, let's continue. 10 Plays by Euripides. Beautiful. Muses, what is the message from Euripides? Inspire us this evening. From the land of Asia I come, leaving sacred Thaumas behind me. In Bromius's honor, I eagerly ply my pleasant task, my toil of ease, crying glory to the Bacchic god. Wow. From the land of Asia I come, leaving sacred Thaumas behind me. In Bromius's honor, I eagerly ply my pleasant task, my toil of ease, crying glory to the Bacchic god. So this is Dionysus speaking as he's coming in, right? But this is a specific iteration of Dionysus, and what's wild here is he's speaking of himself in three persons. Let me explain this. From the land of Asia, I come, Dionysus in the flesh. I come here to you, right? In Greece. In Bromius's honor, I eagerly ply my peasant task. Who is Bromius? Who is Bromius? This is a complicated one because many people end when they see Bromius, they end with that and they don't go further. They see Bromius and they say this is an epithet of Dionysus that means the roarer. But what's wild is when you dig deeper into Bromius, he shows up in two interesting places. He shows up in the Orphic hymns, okay? And in the Orphic hymns, he is complementary with that cosmogonic eros, that force that causes Phanes to rip themselves apart, right? Wild, that roar that causes that force. This epithet is also used with Hecate, but in a slightly different version called Brimo, the feminine one. And whereas wild is we see these two phrases get connected in a very special place. The Eleusinian mysteries. The Eleusinian mysteries. You have the marriage of Bromius and Brimo. This phrasing is explicitly used by the Christian Hippolytus in his refutation of the pagans. And it is used in a way in which he says he is profaning the mystery and is spitting upon the gods of the pagans. Brimo and Bromius are secret names. So he refers to himself as Bromius, the Orphic heir, the roar, the secret mystery who marries Brimo, right? And then he also calls crying glory to the Bacchic god. The Bacchic god. This is another iteration meaning something similar, right? The Bacchae are the screamers, the followers of Dionysus, the Bacchantes, the Bacchantes, right? The Bacchic god, this is the crying god, the one who cries the phrase Iaki or Iako or Iacus, or in some versions, Ewa, Eve, or heave ho. Heave ho, heave ho. Where have you heard that before? We're the seven dwarfs, Bacchantes. I mean, they're all worshiping a dying goddess. Let's continue. All right. Chapman's Homer. This is a fun one. Iliad and the Odyssey. Muses guide my hand. What is the message from Homer? Inspire us. And there I'll tell all wise Penelope news, mix with the wooer's pride, and since they use to fare above the full, their hands excite to some small feast from out their infinite. Wow! We were just speaking of Penelope. We were just speaking of Penelope and saying, I can't believe that she would wait like 20 years for Ulysses. And here she shows up. And there I tell all-wise Penelope news, mix with the wooer's pride, and since they use to fare above the full, their hands excite to some small feast from out their infinite. There are many wooers here, and they're excited at the news just as much as she is, all waiting for this opportunity to pursue her and pounce. It's only out of fear and respect for tradition that she doesn't get snatched up, apparently. Wow. Interesting that we see it from two different perspectives. Interesting. All right. Let's now go to Gurdjieff and Beelzebub's tales to his grandson. All right, muses, what is the message from Gurdjieff? Inspire us this evening. At the present time, among your favorites, such groups exist, have the capacity to reproduce the gravity center notes and the octave of sounds, not only in 5 or 7 gravity center sounds, but even in 13 and 17 whole notes. Oh, wow. You know, when you're getting into Gurdjieff, you're getting into some serious occulted weirdness. At present time, among your favorite, such groups exist as have the capacity to reproduce the gravity center notes and the octave of sounds, not only in 5 or 7 gravity center sounds, but even in 13 and 17 whole notes. And this is that idea of harmonizing with the universe, of connecting through the music, and through that music being able to command reality. And what they're saying is that there are people in our universe who already can command 13 and 17, well beyond even our current imaginations. Interesting. Yes, Gurdjieff did teach with dancing, and it's unfortunate because, unfortunately, a lot of the dances have been lost. The Gurdjieff movements, some of his students have saved them, but Gurdjieff often would be just inspired and just produce them. Such an interesting character. I highly recommend people read into Gurdjieff. Another one of these mixed characters too. Not always a good guy. Notorious liar, notorious narcissist, many, many children out of wedlock, but brilliant nonetheless. A total wild person. Make of him as you will, All right, let's go. One final sortes. Boccaccio, the Decameron. Muses, guide my hand. What is the message from Boccaccio? Inspire us this evening. I knew thy virtue and honor never, though it had been reported to me, would I have credited, had I not seen with my own eyes that thou would so much as in idea, not to say fact, have ever yielded thyself to any man but thy husband. Wow, are we ever getting profound Artemis energy? Right? I doubted you, but I've seen it with my own eyes that you don't fall for any man but your husband. Right? And this makes me think, right? This idea of the virginity and the proof of virginity and taking someone's at the word, or this idea of purity and chastity and taking someone's word is such a profound thing. It's also at the center of the Ramayana, right? The Ramayana, the story of Rama and Sita. I highly recommend people check out. There's a great animation. It's free on YouTube called Sita Sings the Blues. And it will focus on Sita's perspective of the Ramayana. Because Sita gets the short end of the stick, right? She gets abducted by demons, brought to Sri Lanka, only for her husband to come rescue her, but then go, there's no way you didn't sleep with any of them demons or get taken by any of them demons. And then even when she proves herself, he's like, yeah, but no one is ever going to... It gets so wild. Sita calls up the god Agni, the god of fire. She says, if I'm a liar, fires consume me. And she dives in the fire and she doesn't get consumed. She proves her purity. So Rama has to accept her, right? Sita is pure. She never was taken by anyone. Doesn't matter. What does Rama say? Sorry, the people will never believe it. The people will never believe it, right? Will never believe it. And so she leaves. She goes off into the wilderness, in the jungles, and she has twins. And then she tells the twins the story of Ram coming to rescue her. And then the twins go to Rama's court and sing it to him. But even then, after all that, and he hears the story and he meets his sons and he welcomes his sons back, still can't accept Sita. No, 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 no. The story ends with her dying alone and returning to the earth. Returning to the earth. Wild. All right. That is our sortes. We're now going to start our tarot. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm, and I would really appreciate it if you did. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out to me, Snappy at DDTS, snappyddts@gmail.com, or you can find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy or Lady Snappy. All right. Now, let's do our tarot. The Tarot of Thoth by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. All right. Muses, inspire us today, and let's invoke that energy of Kronos to dissect our life, to cut it up and put it on the plate, to examine our present moment and ask, how do we rise above the conflicts? How do we evolve? How do we best move and flow? And how do we manifest our true will? All right. Here we go. And the center card and the most important card is worry. Worry. Building upon one's foundation, expanding that tower, moving from the security of that power, into the unknown, trying to expand into that perfected 6 of success. But we are here, trapped in the worry, right? Drawing down the star, bound in the earth. 5 is that deep earth energy. And what we're seeing here is that we are too caught up in trying to control everything rather than being able to work. And what we need to see here is that rather than worry, we need to just be in that active movement of doing. As long as we are doing, we can make this 5 expand into that 6. We're one away from that beautiful balance, right? Beautiful. Let's see where this is going. Oh, wow. It's intense energy today. Intense energy today. We have interference, right? Interference is overthinking. Again, we see the 7 is expanding upon that 6, that perfected reason, science. And as we overthink and move out of that reason, we gain interference. This is the mind thinking too much, overthinking and questioning rather than moving forward. You know, this is not preventing us from action, but it is slowing us down, right? We are not being reasonable. We are thinking too much. So it's interesting. On one hand, we're not working hard enough, right? And on the other hand, we're thinking too much. Let's see where this is going. Interesting. A lot of this is coming from needing to be at peace with the current situation. You know, I think what is happening is that we are not manifesting in a timely enough manner for us to be able to handle fully, right? What I'm seeing is that part of this worry is that we want the expansive power of that success yesterday, right? And we are worried that we're not doing enough, that we're not manifesting it. But you have to move through the 5. You have to do the work. It takes time, right? You got to be at peace with the moment, not worry so much, not overthink things. What we're seeing here is that we're so close to being able to be in that success. And all it really, truly requires is balance and moving in flow. Okay? Let's continue. The heart of the worry is the muse, right? We've seen her, this beautiful queen of wands, that fiery, passionate beauty, that Circean energy, that Medea energy, right? This is that inspiring beauty who can manifest her will, who people desire and pursue, that great artist, incredible, beautiful energy. Connected here, though, to the worry. And what I'm seeing here is that there's this connection here to her, and there's this stretching out and reaching and coming to her. And there's a worry that we're not successful enough. We need to be more. We need to be doing more. We need to be in that success now, because she's so beautiful, so inspiring, right? And we want to do for her, right? She inspires that action. So the root of this worry is in this, am I enough, right? Let's see where this is going. Yeah, because this is profound energy, right? You wished for this connection. You drew this muse into your life. You know, you embodied that Aquarian energy. You went out under the stars and you did the magic to manifest. This is wish fulfillment, right? It's beautiful. This energy coming into your life is beautiful, but it's almost like you're receiving what you thought you could never receive. It's so profound and it's so beautiful. You think that you're not enough. You're worried that you're not doing enough, right? You're not at peace, even though there is this incredible beauty in wish fulfillment. Where's this going? Yeah. Wow, right? This muse is the sun. This is what you wished for. This is loving union, the creation of the family, joy on earth, the most balanced of the cards in the major arcana, right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful energy. Love realized. Plutus realized. Joy on the earth. Incredible, incredible energy. Wow. So again, it's almost this feeling that this is too good to be true. It's too big to be true. So there's this fear and there's this worry. When's the other shoe going to drop? You know? Let's continue. Yeah. Who's connecting to the Queen of Wands? Why is there so much worry in the physical? It's the Knight of Discs who's connecting to that Queen. And the Knight of Discs is the one who builds, who expands. That's what they do. They're that provider energy, right? That one who can protect and build the tower and build the walls and do what's necessary to maintain stability and protect the family. So this is that energy of trying to manifest that 6. And when it doesn't show up quick enough, and this is the essence of who we are, that's where that worry comes from, right? Natural energy, but it's something to recognize, right? Recognize. Let's see where this is going. Wow. We now have the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Interesting. The Knight of Cups is that deep emotional connecting energy, the one who can offer love and offers and gives love freely to others, who pursues love in that sharing reciprocity, right? Beautiful, beautiful, amazing energy. And what we're seeing here is that we have 2 knights coming in, 2 different perspectives and 2 different methods of approach, right? One that is trying to build and manifest in the physical, another that is trying to bring in this emotional connection, both in pursuit of that muse, that wish fulfillment. What's going on? Yeah. Dominion, we have all the power here. We can manifest our will. With dominion, now we also are seeing the flame, the fire. Interesting. So this is all about embodying the right energy and doing what is necessary to manifest and to connect. Okay. And we're seeing a cycle of unfolding. It's going to make sense when I flip and you get a full perspective here. But before I do, please, once again, give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. And if you're at all interested in a private reading, please reach out, Snappy, ddts@gmail.com, or find me on the Myth and Lore Discord, Snappy, Lady Snappy. You can find everything in the description. All right, let's take a look. So here is our full Saturn spread. We'll start here. So the key to overcoming this interference energy and overthinking energy is to embody this Knight of the Cups, to be in that emotional connection, right? The Knight of the Cups is the one who has that ability to ascend to the stars and connect to that great divine Venus, that mother, right? With that love. So we need to stop overthinking and embrace more of this loving approach, this emotional approach, this connecting approach. How do you manifest your dreams? It's about being in that passion, in that connection, in that love, right? Not in this worry. Okay, let's continue. We're also seeing that in order to overcome this interference energy, we have to embody this cup energy, right? This is what's necessary to make the wish come true, is this deep emotional connection. And this is what will sustain us here. But in order to connect to the muse in the physical, right, to manifest our tower, to bring this loving connection, we need to embody the Knight of Discs, the one who has the disciplined power and ability to build within the physical realm of Earth, right? To manifest those discs, to build the tower, who can overcome this worry and transform it into that balanced six of success and connect directly to this Queen of Wands. Beautiful, beautiful energy. When we see here, like, this is just, the sun is here, the love is here, the wish fulfillment is here. Most of all, this is about being at peace and recognizing that you are in control. You can manifest your will. You have the ability to embody both these nights. This energy is showing up, right? You can be in these energies. You can overcome this minor interference. The biggest thing is about doing and asserting your will, directing it towards that sun, that love, that muse, right? And being at peace with the present, being at peace with the presence, being clear and balanced and focused and at peace, directed towards love and connection, engaged in that disciplined action to transform and build this, engaged in that love and connection to overcome this, right? All about connecting to her and manifesting the sun, right? That incredible wealth and success and beauty realized. Love, security, family, joy, success in the earth. Beautiful. Wow, beautiful. Lastly, we'll see our crosses here. Yeah. In order to do this wish fulfillment, in order to manifest this reality that we're seeing, you just need to be focused and continue. Manifest your will. You have the power and the ability. You just need to ask and be focused on it, right? If we look at the other one, yeah, the sun is here. The sun is here. You just need to be focused on it and offer your love. Go towards it. Overcome the worry. Have that strength to be in that loving connection, to give and receive an equal share. If you can embody that, you can achieve this. It's so close. This is so close, this top card, right? So close. It's just about focused willpower, being at peace, and then having the disciplined action to pursue these things, to build the tower, to get to her, to share the love, to connect with her. There we go. All right. I hope that resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. Thank you once again for joining me for our live tarot. And we'll end today with one final sortes. All right, let's go back to my dear friend Graham. Okay, Muses, what is the final message this evening from Graham? Inspire us. We discussed our various miniature projects for quite some time, or at least it felt like an eternity. We discussed our various miniature projects for quite some time, or at least it felt like an eternity. Isn't that interesting with time? When you're in that joy of sharing, of exploring things that matter to you, that bring you that artistic fulfillment, time can become an eternity, right? It's that pursuit of beauty and joy and loving, sharing, and community that brings that eternity. Recognize the power of love. Recognize the power of art, the power of inspiration and beauty, and see how it can transform things into eternity. All right, everyone. That's the message. Peace and love. I hope I see you again tomorrow for more live tarot and sortes. Take care.